so I can watch it later.
Okay.
Let's start there because I gave you a little Google search. You don't have a whole lot of stuff online. Is that like intentional because of your work?
Yeah, that's 100% intentional there. And even if I'm trying to find like used videos or something like that to try and send to a festival or just even, sorry, not a festival, but I have made some movies and things like that, like on occasion, like little silly things. And I even have a hard time trying to find them. So,
but they're there.
But they are there. I have not stand-up. I don't have any stand-up stuff up there, but I do have like a couple of like YouTube videos that I've made sort of over the years, like recently. Like I'm doing a thing right now where a guy who's kind of like this, he's got like a bit of a southern accent, and he does home repair, sort of like bumbling around. And I came across doing that a couple years ago when I was trying to replace a roof vent. And it just came at a genuine moment of frustration where I was like, I can't believe how unbelievably bad I am at this right here. And it was like using that stand-up comedian brain to try and find the humor in that situation, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, well, maybe I can sort of kill two birds with one stone. I'll send you that video when we're done and everything. And on a happy note, I'm getting my full roof replaced, possibly because of that video right there, where I've just messed it up so badly. So,
oh, like you really did some damage.
Quite potentially, yeah. It was like this weird sort of vent issue where like I watched all these videos. It's like, great, I got all the proper stuff. And what ended up happening was that I took off the old vent that was there before, and then I was about to attach this other vent, but it was a completely different shape. So it was like this rectangular shape where I had to attach a vent to it, but the vent itself, it had this circular part to it. And so I went back and forth and everything, and the guy at the roofing contractor place said, just use one of these instead. So I was like, great. Put on there, and then I found out it was the wrong vent altogether. So
I can't believe you ventured even to do it yourself.
Well, it looks so easy, right? Here's the thing, right? Because those YouTube videos.
I've never thought that.
Oh my God. Well, this is my problem because I'll look at it, I'll watch a 2-minute video, and then I'll think, oh, okay, this should be great. And then what I always forget is that just add the number of minutes it is by the number of hours. So that's been a good sort of rule of thumb. So if it's a 5-minute video, possibly 5 hours, possibly 50.
Damn.
Yeah.
I take back what I said actually, because I watched a 2-minute video on how to code and immediately was like, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you do?
I haven't actually tried. Like I kind of watched a tutorial and now I tell people I can code. I get the idea, and I've also always been, I'm sure you have too, been like, people just assume I'm really good with computers, so it's a lie that just works really well for me.
Yeah, it is like quite the curse right there. Just because we have like dark frame glasses and just have this vibe about us, like I get a lot of computer questions and things like that, and sometimes I can sort of fumble my way through an answer, but most of the time I'm just kind of like, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it on and off again? Like
asking a Lebanese man? That's what I historically have done.
And how has that been successful?
100%. Like even in comedy, like George is Silly or Caesar, they fix my phone and George helps me get this going.
That's amazing.
Like, yeah. I actually. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if you didn't know George or Caesar, you might take that Lebanese that comment as being slightly racist, but no, it's just 100% accurate, and they're helping you out of friendship right there. So
that's me.
Take that, people.
Yeah, take that. I love the Lebs. You wanna? Okay, no.
This is when we're done editing this is going to be like the shortest episode ever.
It's actually just going to be me saying I love the Lebs.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Go Leb. I made my first, or not my first. I made my longest running friend in in grade 9 math, because he just copied off me for like 3 tests in a row, and like I would just fail all of them. And at one point he was just like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know, math." You didn't laugh at that?
So he just assumed that just based on your glasses and your vibe that you were good at math, and then he started copying off of you. And then when he got the test back, it was just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on?
Yeah, he was just stereotyping me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's. Have you been stereotyped before previously, other than the computer nerd math thing, or?
Well, I had a certain look in high school. Also, I'm asking the questions here.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I forgot that this was a podcast and not an actual conversation. My bad. My bad.
Between friends. No, that's not us. No, I got in ninth grade. I had a real like emo kid look going, and I found out afterwards as like from grade 9. By the time I was in grade 11, I looked a bit more like how I look now. And I found out that people just thought I was doing ecstasy and sleeping with so many women and men. Like people thought so many things because I dyed my hair black and red and I wore skinny jeans.
Oh my gosh. Now, because of that, like, sort of rumor that was going around, were you successful in those avenues? Like, were you able to have that lifestyle?
No. I was I was afraid of drugs. I was like really afraid of drugs.
Even more afraid of women at the time.
Honestly, and when girls think you're gay, they don't really want to sleep with you when you were like 15.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah, and that's all the time we've got here.
Okay, hey, this is great. Let's do this again.
Yeah, can you say keep it crispy?
Keep it crispy.
Okay. No, listen. Okay, let's cut this shit. You're a comedian.
All right, I'm
you know that? Yeah, professional, I'd say. Would you?
I guess like semi-professional, because like I don't do it exclusively. Like I still have a day job, right, with teaching and everything. So yeah, I'd call myself semi-professional.
Do you think you could though? Like, because you have a job you love, right?
I do.
Yeah, which is cool. But I just mean like if you didn't, like, do you think you could make a decent living right now?
No,
maybe not during the pandemic.
No, not even during the pandemic. No, absolutely not. I don't think I could. And I don't know, like, at this particular stage, if I'd necessarily be on board for that, because I'd be away like all the time.
Oh, you like love your family.
I do, like kind of. So unfortunately there, so the art has to suffer, but I get lots of hugs from my kids, and they genuinely have affection for me, and we all got to live in the same house. So I mean, this is all positives. When I first got engaged, there was this joke that I would try saying, and it always fell flat, where I would say something along the lines of, I'm in a really great mood this evening. I just proposed to my girlfriend. She said yes, sort of thing. I've been engaged a couple of weeks, whatever. And people would applaud, and I'd be like, oh, great. Like, thank you so much. Like, that means a lot to me. It's important. I feel a stand-up comedian should be divorced. And nothing. It's like, all right, that's a little too back of the room.
Could I have it?
Sure. Yeah. Take it.
That's what I do here. I just interview pro comics and take their old jokes.
Man, your act is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
when this is
that'd
all
be funny.
done.
A good act.
How's your Chris Lock stuff going by?
What do you mean? Oh, my Chris Lock stuff. Well, don't bring up Chris Lock right now. It was too. Did you watch that interview?
I've got to be honest with you, man. I started watching the David Brennan one,
okay,
and I loved it. It was fantastic. And then I had to stop, and then I just got like busy with school and everything, and blah blah blah. And I haven't been able to go back. But yeah, when I get some time after this week when school is done, yeah, I want to do some deep dives for sure.
I wouldn't.
Okay, so who should I watch then?
I think David Brennan, and I said something mean last time somebody asked. I don't want to sound rude.
Okay, maybe you can tell that privately, but they've all been great.
No, I think I thought Miller's was really good, because I find most of the time I hang out with her, like, one of us is really drunk and we're both seemingly on edge. I found her like really chill, and she had so many stories I never like. She has some really cool comedy stories.
Oh, cool.
So
All
follow
right.
that, Greg.
Well, you know what? Like, you're gonna have like, okay, this is just a nice guy who lives in Ottawa and does comedy, and this is gonna be your worst episode yet.
It's already better than at least two.
Really?
The one with Chris Log was very awkward.
What?
Yeah, you should almost watch that one because it is like I think I no no
No.
we won't
Well,
get
what
into
would
it.
be good? Yeah, okay. Well, what we could do is we could stop this. I could go watch these episodes and then come back and then just sort of like act the worst or most awkward moments right here, so that I'm just giving you pure persona, and just making it awful.
That would be kind of, or we could just stream it like in the Zoom chat. So and we do commentary play by play. I can't think of anything nerdier than play by play on comedians talking about comedy.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's there. I think there is a niche market for that right there.
And it's just me, I think. It's just me. So yeah, listen, I googled you. Okay,
Okay.
Funny Business came up. You know of this website?
I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so you started comedy at 24. Why did you start comedy?
Well, okay, so that's kind of like, so the way that I like really like sort of like started, this goes back like in university, right? So I went to Nipissing University in North Bay, Ontario, and I was just like walking around one day, and they had a poster for an open mic that was there, and they just had like various things up, like just trying to fill the space, you know, like bands, acoustic, poetry, storytelling, comedy. And so in my head, I thought, oh, great, this is like a thing. I've always wanted to try stand-up comedy. You know, like some early memories I have of, you know, not first memories, but of my dad watching Evening at the Improv, and then me going downstairs when I should be in bed, or this is like really early in the morning or something like that, and then just listening to him just like bust a gut over these comics. And so I just started, you know, kind of getting into stand up and stuff like that a little bit, just thinking like, oh, this is great. This is like, you know, kind of sketch comedy, except you don't have all these other people there. It's just like one person, and they can do different voices and characters, and just have a great time with it. So when I saw that, that was just like immediately like, I want to try that. Like, that looks amazing. So flash forward like all these years like later in Nipissing University, I saw this thing that was advertised for comedy, like open mic or whatever. I was like, great, this is awesome. And so I went up with about 5 or 7 minutes. And after that, it felt great.
Whoa.
It was really fun. Like, it wasn't like killer or anything like that, but the thing that like I remember, and that it impressed me most, or was impressed upon me the most at that time, was that I always felt that I had all this energy that was all just like kind of like erratic and all over the place and everything like that.
Like
But
your energy was erratic?
oh, my energy was just like off the wall bananas, right? But as soon as I had gotten off the stage, it was like I was just completely and totally even keel, and like focus and listen to people in a conversation, and not just have my mind shooting off in these like different directions of like trying to think of like what I'm going to say next, or just like my mind is drifting off or whatever. It was just like 100% present. And I remember thinking like, gee, this is incredible, right? So you have the bonus of performing for friends and everything like that, and having lots of fun. But then afterwards, the effect of just being calmed down by it, you know?
Yeah, I've never heard that though. You became like a better listener after a set?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. That's never happened since.
Oh. that's cool though.
and I think that's what I'm just forever trying to chase. So not the laugh, not the next joke, just that even keel feeling.
That's like why your wife would be so encouraging for you to do comedy, so you can just listen for once.
Yeah, exactly. Like, could you just do a set and then like come back with like your attention, like you're ready to engage and listen?
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. If you if you don't do a set again, you can never get divorced. That's really cool.
Oh,
Do you think about divorce all the time?
uh, all the time? No, but certainly. Like, because it's I'm kind of in this weird sort of like period right now where like some of my friends have gotten divorced or getting divorced or things like that.
Mm.
So the irony is that when my wife and we got married, like one of the things that we did was we had a photo of us, like we were going to place our wedding photo in a frame, and so we just had the frame there for people to sign and everything. And you look at that frame today, and I think there were maybe about like 4 to 6 couples or something like that who had split since signing that particular frame there. So that is some cursed wood for sure.
You should smash that picture of you and your wife.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've hung it up. Like it is buried like deep in a tote in our basement, and yeah.
Okay.
But
well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna change the topic. I feel bad talking about divorce.
Okay. Well, but
unless you feel
good.
No, if you feel good, if you got more divorce stuff, I'm curious.
I really don't. Like, I mean,
it's for the best if you don't.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like we've been together now, like it's gonna go on. So September 21st. So we'll be married for 13 years, and then we were together about 5 years before that. So yeah, we've been together like quite a lot. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Oh, you look really good.
Oh, thank you very much. I've always had a high forehead, so now I'm just kind of like looking the age that I should look. So
that's kind of the only silver lining I could think of my forehead is eventually I'm going to be an adult and just be, I don't know, I just have years of looking a certain way with my big ass head.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, you own it, man. You look good. Like, you've got a good sized forehead. Like this thing right here. Like this is like, oh, this is.
How many fingers? How many fingers is yours?
6. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I think?
Came in like this was like just a gold mine in high school. Right there, because I could just walk into the LCBO and then just like pick the thing that I wanted, and like just no questions were asked whatsoever.
It was happening in high school, the receding?
Yeah. So it kind of like started there, and then but it's been the same sort of like ever since. So it's kind of gone back like a couple of degrees. I think I might have been 5 fingers in high school, but yeah, lately it's been a good 6.
That's 6.
Yeah, so I don't know when I'm gonna do the eventual like shave my head and everything like that. I guess if I get to 10 fingers, then it's just kind of.
Hey, would you consult your wife before you did that, like before you went bald?
Like in terms of shape my head, or just like the hair just like falls out on its own?
Oh, I mean, assuming, yeah, you were making the choice to do it.
No, I just like that other way a lot.
Yeah.
Like, can I go bald now? Is like, because I'm really tired of like gluing this on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would for sure.
Okay. My girlfriend was talking about going bald, like purposely going bald, like shaving her head, and holy fuck.
Yeah, were you for it?
No. No, absolutely not. You know what? Stop. Actually, never mind. I was just going to be real embarrassing.
Oh, okay. Well, this is like, you know, like this is the podcast video gold right here. So this is going to be more of an interview about you, essentially, than it is about me. I hope you know that.
You know, I love to talk. But normally we start this at 7 o'clock. Now that it's 9, I've already had my 4 beer. Like, it's going to be a whole thing, I think.
So progressively, okay, so you started drinking at 7, and so by now you're really like feeling it quite good.
I'm feeling good, feeling great. No, I was just going to say, I've actually thought about this a lot, about going on a tour with, do you know Chris Gethard?
I don't know.
He's like an American star. Could you Google him really quick?
All right, Chris Gethard.
This is good content.
Let me see here.
Because physically, you just need to see his head, and you'll get my point.
Chris Gethard, American actor. Okay, yeah.
And I thought if the three of us went on a tour, and I think he's similar enough. Like we all, at least on stage, we're all like friendly, relatively like sweet men. We all got the heads, the glasses.
Yeah, exactly. I love being on those kinds of shows right there where you're all wearing like the same sort of like thing or something like that. I was on a show with Chris Locke years ago with John Hastings, and we all don't look the same whatsoever. But the fact that all of us had just shown up wearing plaid was just enough fun right there. But I love those moments where like a comic will go up before you and they'll be like thinner or bigger or taller or shorter or whatever, and you can just like think of something sort of like on the fly right there.
Yeah.
I love it when because I look like most white guys.
Yeah.
I think it's great when there's somebody in the audience who looks very, very similar to me. Ideally, it's best if they're a little bit older, and then just kind of like having a little bit of fun with that. It's great.
You really took my comment that meant nothing, and you had something really nice to say about it. That was really good. That was really cool. You should do more interviews.
Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah. I do like it. Well, one of my favorite conversations that I had was when I was coming back and doing a gig with Tim Riel, and that was fantastic. We were having a great time just kind of listening to his whole story about like how he was going through like his divorce and how he was met his girlfriend that he was seeing and how he was basically navigating like a brand new life for himself. And yeah, it was pretty fascinating. And Abdullah and Wafik were in the car there too. And they said afterwards that, man, it was like listening to a podcast. It was so great. So
Tim's so cool. One night I was a super blackout drunk at McLaren's, and I ran into Tim, and I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm gonna fuck these Instagram models. I was like, what? And then he was just with like a table of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen, and it was just him.
Oh my God.
But to be clear, that may not have been Tim. It may not have been women. I'm not sure if it was me. Interesting days.
At that point, I may have been the Instagram models. I don't know.
I think I just ran into you and the family.
Probably, yeah. You were pretty drunk during that day at IKEA, but
yeah. Do you remember what your first set was like, or the material you set it all? Like, did you prepare, or were you one of those adults?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I prepared like all the time, constantly. And the way in which I was preparing for it then has pretty much been the same way that I go about do it now, like the way I do it now. And so I'll just like think of something that's like sort of funny and like either like a line or a concept, and I'll basically just talk to myself at any moment I possibly can. So if I'm driving in my car into work, from work, if I pop in to use the washroom or something like that, at home, at work, I'll just start talking it out to myself, standing in front of the mirror like a crazy vain person, and just try to work it as best as I can.
How do you know if, like, when you say a line and you're just like, oh, that's going to work, is there like an epiphany? Like, are you able to predict when you're speaking out loud, like which ones will work? How's your track record?
Sometimes, like, yeah, sometimes it's a bit of a mystery right there, because you'll come up like where I'll come up with a line that I really like, and I think it's like pretty clever, and like you can get absolutely nothing on it. And then like another time you'll come up with something that's just like a throwaway line or whatever, and then it'll pop for some reason. It's really weird. Some of the best bits that I've ever written, like years ago, I did this thing of the grade 9 short story where I was teaching like three sections of grade 9 English, and I came up with this idea of doing sort of like a composite of these things, because I had about close to 30 people in each of these classes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing a short story unit, and we were done analyzing these short stories. We were doing the test, and then I said something like, okay, and we're going to write a short story right now. And like, as soon as I said those words, like I just wanted to chase them and put them right back in my mouth, because I just knew what I was getting into. And it was really funny because the girls would write, and you know, like of course there's nuances and everything, but generally speaking, a lot of the girls would write these like romantic love stories and things like that, you know, and these guys would just write the most violent, over the top video game ish nonsense you've ever read in your life. And so I was just marking these things and just marking them and marking them and marking them. And it was just taking forever. And then just one day when I should have been marking, I just kind of had enough. And I basically just wrote this bit in just like one setting, where it just like from the first moment, just all the way to the end. And it wasn't like I was stealing from in particular kids or anything like that, just thinking, oh, well, that line or that sentence is stupid, I'll throw that in there. It was just like this parody of stuff that I just had to get out of my system.
Yeah,
And
man.
after I wrote it, like I didn't laugh like once or anything like that. And then I tried it out, and then it ended up being like my best bit for like about 5 years. Like I used that for 5 years. And the same thing happened with the $310,000 bit. So the story behind that was that I was doing an absolute road gig, like a Christmas party for this real estate firm. And it was just full of these like, you know, just like really awful people, essentially, you know, just like very schmoozy, like just like gross. And so anyway, I went up and I was doing like my set and everything like that. And it went from like chuckles to polite smiles to then nods to just silence, and then to just this feeling of like visceral hatred where they just hated like everything.
Why? What could you have said?
Well, I was doing my stuff about, hey, I'm a teacher and I'm married and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't want that. They wanted me to go in and make fun of them and just be like
Right.
terrible and cruel and all that kind of stuff. And then that's just not me at all. So it was just like a bad pairing in terms of like what they wanted and the kind of comedian person that I am. And so anyway, I was doing my set and everything, and then midway through, I just said, I don't think I'm the right comedian for you guys, right? And they started laughing, right? It was just that like moment of like pure honesty right there, where you could just only laugh at it right there. And I said, well, you know, not necessarily these are the jokes, or just like, well, what would you guys like? I can do voices, I can do impressions, right? And then I started doing a little bit more of like my edgier kind of stuff. And then they were really getting on board for that. And then I just kind of had that light switch where I was like, okay, all right, this is what they want. Okay, this is who I have to be. And I just kind of switched things and made it more pointed at them. And then they loved me after that. So Jeff McKay was there, and he said it was crazy because he's never seen an audience hate a comedian so much, and then by the time he was done his set, have them actually like him.
That's got to feel really cool, but also like you really earned the money that night. You really.
I definitely earned the money that night, and I was so angry, just like at this whole thing. Like I didn't feel good about, you know, like, yeah, I got them over to my side and made them laugh or anything. I was just full of rage at this point. So as I was sorry?
Like, why would you be full of rage if you won them over?
I don't know. I just think because maybe, I don't know. Maybe because it was like such a struggle. Maybe because I felt I had like, and I don't know, maybe it's being grandiose or whatever, but cheapen myself or whatever. Like, I don't know. I was just really angry. I was just like, can't believe I just had to do this in front of these like bunch of assholes. And so anyway, as I was driving back, I can still remember like vividly, like driving along the Queensway and then just like spilling it all out right there. Just the joke, as I pretty much say it now, like years later, pretty much as it was in that moment driving back.
Oh,
and it wasn't like I felt amazing, or I knew, oh, this is going to be good and everything like that. It was just like this moment of just, I think brutal and sheer sort of honesty in a way.
Yeah.
And then it was great because of the first time I tried it out, Daryl Lennox was in town, and I had this joke. I didn't feel it was quite ready yet in order to tell it up on stage, but he was doing this great bit about might work, probably won't.
I saw him do that at the on the gala, the Just Relax gala.
Yeah, he like amazing.
It's the best.
Yeah. And so he was like laying that foundation right there, and he was doing it just before I went up. And so I went up and I said, I'm going to try out some new material this evening. Might work. And just kind of left it right there. And then a couple of people in the audience started laughing, saying, probably won't. And then just tried it out, and it just worked perfect. So I was like, okay. So I think that the interesting thing with those particular bits is that I have no idea how to recreate them again. The only thing that I'm aware of is just that the brutal honesty that was in those particular moments, and the fact that I was just so incredibly fed up, you know?
Yeah. I've never been fed up, actually, as a person.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Being fed up is great.
You must get it more as like a dad.
Well, you know what? So I was thinking a lot about this particular podcast, and that we were going to be doing. What do we call this? Is this a podcast? Is it?
I'd like to call it that, but I don't think it is.
Okay. Well,
what would you call it?
I don't know.
You're the teacher, man.
Yeah, but I'm like out of touch, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Severely out of touch. What was I going to say? So in preparation for this podcast and everything like that, I was thinking of like, all right, well, what are some potential questions going to be that Andrew's going to ask? And I kind of thought that one of them was going to be, do you miss doing stand-up during this COVID time and everything? And to be brutally honest with you, I really haven't, right? Just because I've been doing other things. Like I've been working on the house and marking some work and hanging out with my family and everything, and it's been fantastic. And the only time where I really wanted to do a set was this moment where I was asking my kids to help me do some work around the house. And I think I must have asked them maybe about like 10 times within like a 2-hour period or something like that, maybe less. And then it was like, okay, I could really use a set right now. That would be
Well, you could use a set like you could use a cigarette.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah.
Whoa. I would never ask you that question. I wouldn't ask you because I figured for sure you would. But you're also like, you have a real life. Like these losers in Ottawa, like most of the comedians don't have lives.
I wouldn't say that.
Wouldn't you though? Like if we weren't live.
Well, oh man, I would give you specific names and people, and I'd just be like, I just feel sad for them. Just like when I look at them, like I see them enjoying their beer and smiling, but it's the tears of a clown.
And it's like the beer's the only thing they enjoy.
Well, definitely, yeah, absolutely. And,
I hate Ottawa comedians.
Well, they are the worst. Yeah. So I think that the thing, and this was good, like kind of this whole experience and everything like that, was the fact that I'm kind of scrambled all over the place. So I'm not drunk, just not a great storyteller. So I started mucking around in university or whatever, but then I do like a set or something like that, like maybe once every 3 months or something. So I consider it to be a false start. Right. And I started really doing it when my wife and I moved to London, England, and about 2004 is when I started actually like doing it and pursuing it and doing it quite regularly. And at the time I was teaching. So for me, like doing stand-up and teaching at the same time, they're like one and the same really. And in that context, stand-up has always been a stress release.
Did being a teacher like help you with stand-up? Like controlling the room?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And like it works both ways there too, like one of the great things is that when I tell my students that I'm a stand-up comedian, like that buys you so much goodwill.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be so cool. One of my teachers in high school, I had a Mitch Hedberg t-shirt I'd wear all the time, and one of the teachers knew who it was, and like that was the only class I would never miss. It's like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't even have to be funny or anything like that. You can just talk about stand-up like, every so often or whatever. And, but that is like just such a great buy-in right there.
Yeah. I was kind of interested. No, I'm really interested. I take it back. But when you became, okay, so if you say you're like a semi-pro, when did you go from being like amateur to kind of pro?
Uh, I don't know. Like, I think it's all just been kind of like gradual and everything like that. I think one of the things that was really helpful was, you know, playing both Yuck Yucks and Absolute, and then getting to that time where it's kind of like, well, you got to make a decision. You're either, you know, with Absolute exclusively, or you're more with Yuck Yucks.
Right.
And so after I did that $310,000 joke, Daryl Lennox was hosting open mic that one night. I think it was like maybe a year or so later. We got to work together. He was headlining, I was middling, and just had a great time doing it. And Howard was asking me for a while, like, you know, you should really think about being exclusive. And he was saying, like, there's lots of clubs, you know, there's lots of work, right? I think you have what it takes and everything. And it just made perfect sense. I was like, yeah, sounds great.
It seems like you fully know when you became a pro, then that sounds like a perfect, like that's it.
I think that was it. Yeah. So maybe it was just because of, like, you know, not working both clubs, that I was able to then sort of like focus and work just with Yuck Yucks there. So, and that's been kind of like, that was really cool. So now talking back and thinking it with you. So yeah, and that was a great decision. That worked out really well.
Yeah. Have you done Absolute like recently at all?
I haven't done it since.
Like there was no falling out or anything. It's just like you drew your.
No falling out like whatsoever or anything like that. To be honest, like, it was just like a very like logical decision too, where I was just getting lots of work from Howard, and I wasn't getting a ton from Jason.
Right.
And I also said to Jason too that every time I was going out and doing these like road gigs with him, like, I was just dying every single time.
Like you were bombing?
Oh, I was bombing so hard. Like,
Oh.
just like the last one that I did with him, it was for hockey parents fundraiser or whatever.
Good.
And doing like my usual stuff, like teacher, dad, married, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I just ate it hard. They just hated me so much. And he was there that night too. And I told him, it's like, I don't think I want to do any more of these gigs. Right.
Yeah.
And it was just hurting too much. And he was just like, well, you know, you're saying this now, just, you know, kind of calm down, like, just relax, like, really think about this and everything. It's like, no, I don't think I want to do it. And then I remember walking from the venue to my vehicle, and there's a group of parents who are talking outside, having a cigarette or whatever. And they just stopped the conversation and all just kind of like looked at me, just like, oh God, there's that awful comic. Like, oh, I hope he doesn't go home and like just like hang himself or
Yeah.
you know, stuff that, like, it just felt so bad. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I wasn't getting a lot of work from Jason because I told him, like, I don't want to do these gigs anymore.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, when I was getting the same type of gigs from Howard, they were great. They were just going really well. I was having fun, and I didn't feel bad like whatsoever. Now, they weren't all perfect, but they certainly weren't like that level of just complete and utter failure. So when Howard said, like, I can give you more work and everything, and I wasn't getting like really anything from Jay at the time, I said, sure, let's do it. Oddly enough, though, when I made the decision to sign with Yuck Yucks and be exclusive with Howard there, Jay called me up that day to say, hey, I got a great gig for you. It's a bunch of teachers, right? 15 minutes. There you go. I'm like, really like to do it. However, I've just signed with Yuck Yucks. And he was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. And so there was no falling out. There was no like screaming match or anything like that. And yeah, I have no ill will or anything like that to Jason. And, yeah.
Me neither. Why didn't you come out drinking with us at Absolute last night then, you fucking coward?
Well, I didn't know that was a thing, so this is the first I knew about it.
Forgot to invite you. No, I'm kidding.
I'd never invite you.
No. Sometimes I invite some comedians and then they get there and I realize, like, Oh, I guess we're not actually friends. Like we just do comedy, and I just assume I'm gonna be able to be friendly with everyone. But then there's certain people I'm like, oh no, we are like not even a little. You ever have that?
Uh,
No. Okay.
no, but I've had like similar things like that where you think, oftentimes it's perhaps more the other way where it's just like, I don't know if this social interaction is going to go all that well. And then you end up talking to the person and it's usually like always great. But I get what you're saying like 100% of the time.
I think it just sounds like you made me really sound like a glass half full kind of guy, or half empty kind of guy, and you're a glass half full.
That could be it. I don't know.
Anyways,
Anyways,
can
well, it's anyways, like I always enjoy talking to you. So
thank you. That's our show. Can you say keep it crispy?
keep it crispy.
Hell yeah. Would you tell me, and I mean would you, not you have to, what the most money you made from a corporate gig is?
Sure.
Okay.
I made 1,100 one time.
Fuck yeah. How'd this neck?
So it was for it was for this business awards thing, and they wanted an MC, and I met with the person beforehand, and it was like really great, really lovely. And anyway, she was saying, I used to do this in Brockville, these kinds of awards, and since moving from Brockville to Ottawa, I'm in charge of putting on the same sort of show. And so she said that, what we've had before is we've had these like little movie things, but little vignettes as like skits or what have you. So you don't have to do that because you're not going to have like a whole heck of a lot of time or anything like that to do that, to prepare. But as soon as she said that, I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do 100% of the time. Right. And so anyway, I thought it would be cool to do this skit, which is basically because it was originally the West End Chamber of Commerce. And so I thought, okay, Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter. So I thought it would be really funny if I'm like Harry Potter going around to all these Ottawa businesses and just kind of like doing fish out of water kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I spent like, oh my gosh, like so much time just like working on like these particular videos and learning how to edit video and all this kind of stuff. Just because it made more sense to me at the time to just show these videos rather than me just do 5 minutes in between like this award and that award or something like that, and then be a little bit more loose and off the cuff. That said, if I was given this opportunity again, I would not do that at all because it ended up being a phenomenal amount of work.
Yeah.
So much so that in the last week where I was editing the videos together, I was going to sleep at like 2:30, 3 in the morning, getting up at like 6 to then teach like a full day, and then like going out and shooting stuff and then editing from like right after school or what have you until like the wee hours. So when the big day finally arrived at it, I felt like I had the flu. Like my head was just I was so dead tired. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was just like exhausted before the thing even began. And so talking with like Graham K about it when we were doing like he was in town. I think it was like a Wednesday night or something like that. We're just shooting the shit. And anyway, he was like, man, that's stand-up money, man. Like what you did right there, that's like a ridiculous amount of work for what the pay is. And I was like, yeah, you're 100% right. So that was the most that I ever got, but I went way too overboard on it.
You really like earned the money, goddamn.
Yeah. So
sounds fun. What
yeah,
question?
Sorry?
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it ended up being like really fun, and like it was like glitzy and wearing a suit and everything. So it was cool because I got to exercise like a different muscle.
Yeah.
And the videos were received okay, but
That sucks.
well, it was one of these things where like, okay, so it was called in my head when she said it used to be called the West End Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
And as soon as I heard that, it's like I immediately stopped listening and just focused on that because they had changed it to the West Ottawa Business Awards. And so they hadn't been the Chamber of Commerce for whatever. So the metaphor, like it didn't work, right? So it was like, what the hell is this guy like this Harry Potter stuff, like what? And I don't even know if they knew about Harry Potter. Like I would just assume that it's like, oh my God, it's Harry Potter. How could you not know this stuff?
It's really funny.
Yeah. I just completely played this wrong. So, and just the stuff I was doing just off the cuff, just saying like, there's this one British guy who was there. And so he came up, he won an award. He didn't accept his speech. So I said something like, James is going to be out in the lobby reading the phone book right there for any of you who are interested. And, just little like fun things like that just did so great. And so it was just learning sort of at that moment, okay, this is how I kind of have to.
Oh, like you could have just done stand-up and
If I could have just done stand-up and just been like incredibly a lot more relaxed and just not necessarily put myself through that much stress and just went with it, I think it would have been better for everybody, and I probably would have been like 10 times funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next time they book you.
That's right. Next time I won't care so much.
Yeah, they're actually big fans of this live stream. So.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Shout out to the Chambers.
Yeah.
Hey, you've showcased for a lot of festivals.
Yes.
Did you know? How many times do you think you've done it?
Lots and lots. I have honestly stopped counting, I think.
Right.
So yeah, definitely showcased a lot. So always a bridesmaid, never a bride, but each time it keeps getting better.
But do you care less each time? Like, because you're just kind of, like, you're a bit more, what's the word? You know the word? You're the teacher. I could never be really good friends with the teacher because I'd say that every time.
Oh, well, you're the teacher.
You're the teacher. You should fucking.
Go on, know it.
You have one of the best dumb voices, I think. Like the dumb voice that you can do. It's so funny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's definitely one of my new favorite jokes. I love that joke.
Yeah, anything that could just sound like a full.
Yeah.
But you're not getting a little like jagged. You know the word I'm trying to think of?
Jaded.
Yes. That.
No, I'm not. I think I've sort of like made, I don't want to say made my peace with it because it has like a finality with it right there. Yeah. And I think there were like quite a few showcases where like I felt like, yeah, I just completely and totally knocked it out of the park. Right? Where I felt like, yeah, this is going to be my year. I've definitely earned it. I've put in the work. This is going to be mine, without ever actually saying those things or saying that to anybody, just because it makes you an intolerable person. But I've certainly had those feelings, just like, I'm going to get it. And then I don't get it. And then it happens again and again and again. You can either be two ways about it. You can either like, let it chew you up and you become this bitter person where it's just like, they don't want me, so and just be negative about the whole thing. Or you just take a step back and you try and realize, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Right. And it's just because I like coming up with jokes, and I like entertaining people. And if anything comes with it, that's awesome. And that's like kind of the zen that I have to just keep reminding myself about, because if I start thinking about putting my wants and my needs out in the universe, or having a 5-year plan and thinking, okay, I have to do this and reach this milestone in 5 years or that, I just become like too crazy and just way too manic. And it's not good for anybody. It's certainly not good for my family. It's certainly not good for me or friendships or anything like that. And so I just have to be zen about it and just remind myself that I just do it because I like to make people laugh, and I like to be silly and funny.
And yeah. Do they let you know? You didn't, like, do they send you an email saying like no?
No, they don't.
That's good, because that would, that would drive me insane, I think.
Oh, well, I think it's worse In fact, because so you showcase, like, say, for a lot of the festivals, like in, say, September, or, you know, because if you're doing like the Yuck Yucks showcase festivals, where you'll audition for Halifax, Winnipeg, and Just for Laughs all in the same time, that's back in, say, October. And then if you don't hear anything for months and months and months and months and months, that can drive you crazy. And before I had this kind of like outlook and everything like that, I would audition in, say, March, and I would spend every single day checking my email, every single moment thinking about it. And you just get to this point where one day you hear that the lineup has been posted, and you check it out. And of course, like, you're not going to find out like, oh, cool, I made the festival this year. That's great.
You're right.
So you're just driving yourself crazy. But I felt, so I did showcase for the 3 festivals back in the fall at Yuck Yucks, and it was a great showcase. And same thing, just having to try to have that Zen attitude, and just telling my wife, like, I had a great showcase. I did everything I possibly could. And if anything comes of it, fantastic. If not, well, then hopefully I made an impression, and they might pick me next year for something like that.
I'd pick you. Does your wife come to your showcases?
No.
Your bigger
well, she's with the kids, so.
Oh, yes, the kids. Have they ever seen you do comedy in real life?
No, but I did do an episode of Laugh Out Loud. And so when they were really, really little, and so they did hear me on the radio when that whole, like, winning funniest person in the Valley and being interviewed by CBC and everything like that. So they did hear me on the radio, and they thought that was pretty cool.
I think that's how I heard of you the first time, winning funniest person in the Valley. I was in that competition. Did you know? You took my spot. No, I had a joke. I did a joke that was so bad, but I heard the comedians in the back of the room. It was actually on a patio of an Eastside Mario's, but I heard the comedians in the back, who I didn't know because it was like my first year, but they laughed so hard that I did that joke for like 5 years too long. And when I brought it up with it was Johnny Novak. I remember he was there, and then I became friends with him, and I was like, why? Remember that joke I was killing with you guys? He was like, what was the joke? And I told him. He's like, we were probably just laughing because it was the worst joke we've ever heard. Oh, that makes sense. I did not progress a lot for a long time. That's just.
And I told that joke for 5 years, thinking it was my best. And was that because I think I was on that one? That was the Eastside Mario's that was in Arnprior, right?
Yes.
Yes, I was on that night. That's right.
Oh my God, were you?
I was. Yeah.
That's the first time. I don't think I met Greg Houston, but I saw him, and when I saw him, he was wearing like a really cool vest. Like he has like a real defined look. So when I saw him and I heard he was a comedian, I was like, shit. Like I felt like it was like a comedy uniform. I was like, I need to dress way cooler.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about what you wear on stage? Look at that fucking segue, dude.
Yeah, that was top notch, man. Well done. Boom. Usually, like, I'll just wear, like, you know, nice jeans and like, you know, like, I don't know, RW shirt or something like that, or something, or like a black sweater. That's usually good. For a while, I was experimenting with wearing like my work clothes up on stage, where I would like have my pants ironed and the white shirt and the tie and all that stuff. And I had these glasses that are different from these ones, that were more sort of like 1960s.
Yeah. And
so at the time, which was a few years ago, I did this joke where I went up on stage saying that I look like a 1960s Southern racist.
Right.
And that got some good leg room for a little while right there. And I actually stopped dressing up on stage because I did a gig at Petawawa, actually, for the Soldiers, where I basically wore that up on stage, and I bombed so hard. I bombed like you wouldn't, like, they just hated me. They hated me so much and were heckling me so much that the commanding officer had to walk up on the stage, yell at them in order to settle down and have some respect and everything. And then I had to then kind of carry on and do some comedy afterwards. And then I kind of realized it's just like, oh my gosh, I look like their high school teacher. They don't want to see me. They don't want this.
Yeah.
coming to them. They want the fun guy. They want like, hey, blah, blah, what's going all of that, you know.
Yeah. Pull out your weasel.
So I after that gig, I stopped doing that like immediately.
Okay. Man,
Yeah.
you have really good answers to really bad questions.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. What's your special? Hey, were there
No,
anything? Has there been anything? What were the questions you thought I might ask that I haven't yet?
I don't know. The big one was that was just like running around my head for the longest time was you asking me if I missed stand up.
Right.
And for the longest time, you know, the answer was no. And I was really thinking about why it was. Like, why was I not missing this? You know, why was I wanting like that stage time or anything like that? And I think it was because like it's such a stress release right there, right?
Yeah.
I will say though that, you know, I've had these thoughts like every so often where I think maybe it was about like 6 or 8 years ago, I had 3 classes in a semester that were just amazing, right? So, you know, like a high school teacher will teach 3 out of the 4 blocks, and on the 4th block, that's their prep or whatever.
Mhm.
And these 3 classes were just incredible. Nicest kids, hardest working kids. Like we just got along so well. It was one of the best years I've ever had teaching. And I was thinking to myself, like kind of like deal with the devil sort of things, like if I was guaranteed that I would get those kind of caliber of classes year in and year out, but I would have to give up stand up, would I give up stand up to do that? And I was really trying to rack my brain around this and everything. And I went down to Yuck Yucks one night and still kind of like thinking about this and everything. And the MC calls me up to the stage. And as soon as my foot hit that stage and I was just getting bathed in that light, I was like, oh, I would never give this up whatsoever. Like, this is just too good. Like, didn't even say my first joke or anything like that. Just like walking to that stage, setting my foot on was like, oh no, I would never, ever make that deal whatsoever. So I haven't missed it, but I will definitely enjoy it thoroughly when we get back to it.
Good.
And I think that's the other thing too, is because if stand-up was still going on, but for some reason I wasn't able to do it, I would be missing it like so much. But because stand-up
that just
really
like socially, like you feel like your friends are playing without you?
Yeah, I think if my friends were playing without me, it would drive me crazy. That's 100%. And the thought of doing like a Zoom comedy show or a parking lot where people are honking at me from their cars, that does not sound appealing to me right now. So
Yeah, I think those Zoom comedy shows. July 4th will be my next one, by the way.
okay, good.
Stay tuned. But it's definitely for people with no real life. I'm going to see my girlfriend tomorrow for the first time, like since the pandemic started. Like she lives in Newmarket, Ontario.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm about to nut. Take this off. Okay. But I just think you're right. Yeah, like if I had anything other, like my point is, if she lived even in the same city, I don't think I'd be doing a Zoom comedy show. If I had anything to do other than shows, I would do it.
Yeah. But I think you're doing the right thing, you know, like in terms of starting up this podcast and everything with getting to talk to your friends and people that you're interested in and doing that. I think that's amazing.
I think it was bad having some trying to interview headliners. I'm not really friends with headliners. So it's a lot of people that aren't my friends. That it's just, we're not friends.
We're friends.
We are now. I think this is the most we've spoken.
Well, usually, like whenever we see each other, it's we're at a gig or something like that, and you know, we'll definitely talk before the show and after the show. But it drives me crazy of people talking during somebody's act while being in the room. Like I can't stand that. That's a major pet peeve of mine. So if we're having,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not saying it to you. I'm just saying like in general, like, so if there's, I don't know, somebody up on stage or something like that, and I haven't seen you for a long time, like I'd love to chat with you, but you know, somebody's up on stage right there. So we'll save the conversation for later or whatever.
Okay. Well, that's nice of you. I know.
Yeah,
Uh,
kind of. It's actually really passive aggressive, and
it feels
I
very
actually
like
want to do.
Canadian nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, we'll wrap this up soon. You have to go to bed.
I don't have to go to bed.
Okay, I take it back then.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking. Okay, so this is my favorite question. I was just wondering, like, what your favorite like newer comedians are in the city, if you have any.
I don't. Let's see. Newer comedians. I. He's not a newer comedian, but like I think Ben Hagel is one of the funniest people I think I've ever met. Like,
He could be on our tour of like he has a nicer forehead, but in terms of glasses, like clean cut white guy.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely do a show of people who all kind of like look the same. And if we do it kind of like the Beatles' second album, Meet the Beatles, where we're all kind of like looking straight ahead with our glasses and we're half in shadow and half not, I think that would be good.
What would that tour be called? There's so many possibilities.
Yeah, well, it would have to start with Meet the, right?
Meet the incels.
Meet the incels. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I think that's it. Meet the incels.
Um, I think you would you. I guess you don't know Chris Gethard. I'm trying to think of what your position on the show. If you'd headline or MC potentially.
I'm happy to middle. So yeah.
And I think we might need you to host because neither Ben or I could do hosting or headlining.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll host. I think that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody else? Just Ben. Everyone else.
I think Ben's great. Laura McLean, David Brennan, like oh my God, like just so great. There's so many people that I love, and it's just I might not know their name or all of their acts, but if they just say something that's like really really great, you know, it's like yeah, I'm I'll be a fan. And of course, like my friends who've been doing this forever with me, like Matt Carter, of course, and Tavis, and Trevor Thompson, and Jeff McKay. Like, yeah, we've been doing this for ages there.
Yeah, how long have you been?
Greg
I'm
Heath.
just trying to do some quick math, and it's not for me.
Yeah, me neither. So I think like maybe 15, 16 years, maybe something like that. So
Damn.
yeah,
That's cool. How many notebooks do you think you've gone through? Do you write in notebooks?
no. In fact, so Dan Allaire, who is another favorite new person who's great. So he reminded me about Gary Gelman's his
Yeah.
tweets there, 365. And I was just getting at this point where I was just really, really plateauing for just the longest time. Like I just nothing was really happening or anything like that. And it was really driving me crazy. That $310,000 joke was just hanging around my neck, just like this weight where I wasn't able to come up with anything nearly as good as that, and just trying to chase it and come up with new stuff. And I was coming up with new stuff, but it just wasn't all that great. And so I did a set with Dan, and we were just talking shop, and he recommended those 365 tweets, and he sent me the link for them, and I started looking at them, and oh my God, it was like a breath of fresh air. So one of the tweets that I absolutely loved, which really, really worked well for me because I find that I'm not great at writing, is the fact that set a timer for 10 minutes and force yourself just to write for that 10 minutes. And as you are writing, you will find that when the 10 minutes hits, you will keep writing, right? Because the juices will be flowing. I'm like, that's great. And the other tweet that I really liked was one of the first ones in which he was saying, record yourself, write out what you're saying word for word, and then go back and then just like edit everything out.
Have you done
And
that?
so I started doing that, right? And that to me was the best way. I find if I have an idea and I start writing it out, I sound like too literary, and it's just not funny, and I'm not finding it funny. Not in the way of other jokes where I don't think this is like I'm not laughing, but I just know it's not my stage voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so doing that was really great because I could combine a couple of those things of doing the writing for the 10 plus minutes, and then taking what it is that I had already had and then just trimming it up and working it tighter, like really squeezing it. And I was really getting into the groove of doing that before the pandemic shut down. And it was cool because that was when I was doing a short middle with Derek Sagan there and Marito Lopez, who are both two amazing comedians that
I hadn't seen Marito before. He was so funny. He has, like, I imagine like it would suck to be in a competition with him. He has like an unmatchable energy.
Oh yeah, he was ridiculous, right? He was just the greatest host. Just had the perfect energy because like in that last week before the shutdown, because the shutdown took place. We did Saturday early show, Saturday late show, and then it was shut down on the Sunday, the 15th there.
Yeah.
And so it kind of had this sense of like, you know, almost going out and doing, or not quite during like the London Blitz or anything like that, but it definitely had that element of like danger and excitement and, you know, we're out and perhaps we shouldn't be out right now. And things are going down and this could get dicey and dangerous. But man, it was just so potent and perfect for comedy. And so with having like all those factors and everything like that, and then having all the stuff of like the COVID taking place and then the teacher strike as well too, it was that moment of being like kind of fed up, but just going through the methodology that that Dan shared with me in Goldman's 365 tweets, like it all just fit like magic.
Wow.
And that was, I think, my favorite weekend of comedy ever.
You visually froze. Can you still hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you froze there too. So.
Am I still frozen? Oh no. Oh no.
It says my internet connection. You're still frozen. I can hear you though.
Okay. I think I could hear you fine. Shit.
Oh
no.
Okay. Yeah.
Well.
Okay. Good. We can just talk like this there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny.
It was super fun that weekend. Oh, there we go. You're back now.
You're still frozen. Oh, wait. Oh, there you are.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Did I freeze again?
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're getting all right. Now you're moving around.
Greg has left the chat for anybody watching. I think, what the fuck is happening? Greg may or may not be still in the chat. Say, guys, people are definitely watching, right?
So I'm here.
You're here. Oh, okay.
Oh no, I'm on the level, man. I'm drinking
Oh my
water.
god.
I'm here. You're not here though.
Did it say like I wasn't in the chat anymore?
You weren't there at all, right? It was just me, and then but now you're here.
Okay. You're here.
Yeah. I've got like full signal. How about you? How are you on your end?
I got full bars, bro.
All right. So I don't know what the issue is.
Me neither. And I hate that neither of us are tech savvy enough to.
I know. You think like just
Our
based on
faces.
our appearance and everything, like just based on all of this, that we would have this figured out. Well, we wouldn't even be having these issues.
That's right. We'd be on a different platform other than Zoom, probably. But I paid.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it would.
Well, hey, I've got two more questions. Okay.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. Then we'll wrap it up. You don't have a comedy album. Have you ever like thought of one? Doing one?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I got the title, everything too.
What is it?
It's gonna be Greg Schroder, Sir.
Why, sir?
Yeah. Well, just because you know that's when you're a teacher, like they don't call you by your last name. Like nobody really says like Mr. Schroder or
Really?
Miss So and So. It's always just like Sir,
Oh,
Miss,
that's so
whatever.
cool.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good title right there. Just something like really short, really sweet. I find like long titles for comedy albums aren't great.
Like
Um,
they're a bad idea, or that you
yeah,
haven't
it's just
seen
like
them?
hard to remember, right? Like Eddie Murphy Delirious, right? Like everybody knows that.
Yeah, I think you have a point. But do you know Nick Nemeroff?
I know the name. I'm not familiar with his act.
He's Canadian. He put out an album recently, and it's called "The Pursuit of Comedy Has Destroyed My Life." And I just
Great
think
title.
it's. Would you say?
That's a great title.
I think it's really great. Yeah. I think about it every day, but I think it's just as an amateur comedian that's developed a drinking habit. Like I just think, yeah, same, Nick. Same.
But maybe that's good because it's just so pointed,
That's the
and
thing.
maybe that's it with the titles is exactly what it is that you're going to get, either with like a short title or a long title. If you have something kind of like convoluted, um, I guess like anything, it's just not going to work,
Yeah,
right? Like Feeling Kind of Patent. It's one of the best comedy albums ever, and you kind of know exactly what you're going to get as soon as you uh, put that on and go into his world and everything.
that's a really
You get
cute
what that
title.
is.
I hadn't heard that before.
Oh my
Um,
God, it's so good.
hey, so that's your album, but I just want to know, like, if you had to have like intro music, what would your song be? Walking out on stage.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah,
There's two that I have,
okay,
right? One of them is Cloudburst by Oasis,
okay.
right? And because like I'm a huge Oasis fan, like I just think they're so great, and it's a really really good rocking song. And then the end credit would be one by Noel Gallagher that he does, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I think it's like White Sunflower or Black Sun, like something like that. I'll figure it out what it is. So that would be the ending song, or I would go back to East Coast kind of Canadian and do Thrush Hermit, The Day We Hit the Coast,
Do you
which is
know
also really great.
that now makes it 100% of the guests that I have had. I've never heard of the bands that even they say of the songs. Like I don't know any music apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea what you just said.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand Thrush Hermit there because they were a late 90s, um, late 90s band, maybe early 2000s. No, I don't think no, because they folded early 2000s. So like, late 90s band, and they're incredible. So have you heard of Joel Plaskett?
I actually think I did a camera for him at like a folk fest or blues fest.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
he was fun. I don't think I listened to his music before or after, but it was a really. He's from the Maritimes, right? Like he's.
That's right. Yeah,
Are
exactly.
you? I screamed.
No, I'm not
Okay.
Maritime. No. I just love like East Coast pop music from the '90s. Just the whole sensibility about it is just it's
Sounds so
brilliant. It's so good.
Okay. Have you done comedy there?
No, well, here's the thing. This summer was going to be my first venture out there.
Mine too, actually.
Oh, seriously?
You know David Haddad?
Yeah.
He has his friends actually back there. They run a comedy club in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I think he was setting us up to do a little thing around there.
Oh my God, that would have been great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. I was going to do Halifax Yuck Yucks, and it was going to be second week of July.
Oh no, that's gonna
And
be so sad when that passes.
I know it is. Yeah, because that was going to be because my kids are at a perfect age for that. Because one of the things I've always wanted to do was to take them on the road with me, do comedy, and do like family vacation, sort of all in one. And so this was going to be like our first trip where we were going to drive out to the Maritimes. We have a friend who lives out in Newfoundland, and we were going to visit him and his family and get to know his kids, and then fly from Newfoundland back to Halifax, do the shows, and then drive home. So it was going to be a really great summer.
Yeah.
But there's always next summer.
Were you gonna let your kids watch you do comedy?
No, absolutely not. So
Absolutely not. What do you mean? I think it'd be so cool.
no. Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? So I don't swear
Right.
really in any other places in my life other than comedy, right?
Oh, I see.
And so like I'm not working on like something around the house and dropping like F bombs or whatever, like, you know, doing anything like that really. Um, just because I didn't want my kids to pick up the habit with swearing, and the best way to ensure that is don't do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so they don't because I don't really. But in stand up, that's a completely different animal altogether. And then, you know, I'll just like let it rip. And if there's like a joke, like, and I don't swear like a ton in my act, but if there's a place where I can put a swear word in that will just give it like a certain amount of like emphasis or impact, like I'll definitely do it. But I really hate, you know, like going to the grocery store or something like that, and you just hear somebody like just drop an F bomb, and you're like, come on, man, like, so.
Yeah, I once saw a woman very briefly for what should have been a one night stand in retrospect, but we went to like an outdoor Dairy Queen,
Yeah, yeah.
and we were in the line. It was summer, and it was just her and I, and then a bunch of kids and their parents, and she was literally just telling me in so much detail a story where she and her brother ended up doing cocaine off of a, in her words, a whore's asshole. And then what was really mortifying, where it was like I thought the story was kind of funny and unbelievable. I was like, I knew for sure I was never going to see her again, but I was
Yeah, yeah,
listening,
yeah.
and but then a man was just like, "Can you watch your language? There are kids," and she just started to swear at him. I was like, "I'm not buying you ice cream." I still
Oh,
paid for the ice cream. I loved her.
well, you kind of have to in that
Yeah,
situation right there. Oh, that's the worst, man.
yeah.
So you hooked up with this girl, and then
Hooked up.
uh,
Please, I'm a gentleman.
okay, right. So
Yeah, you know what I did? So we saw each other for a little bit. It was mostly her ghosting me and me not understanding. Like, it's never happened to me before, so I was just like, kind of a creep in retrospect, just being like, "Hey, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Come on, oh, are you okay?" Like before I ever thought she didn't like me, I was just like, "She's kidnapped. She's there's no way somebody would do this." But eventually, you know what lured her back to me?
what's that?
Just leaning into being a creep now. I lured her back to me by saying I got tickets to the pro wrestling event in Ottawa. Uh,
Oh,
so I took her to a pro wrestling event, and then I decided like she stayed over the night, and I was like, in the morning I'm gonna make her an honest woman and ask her to be my girlfriend because I was missing all the signs.
yeah.
And so I walked her to the bus stop, and I waited right before she got on the bus. I was like, "You want to be my girlfriend?" And she was like, "No, never change." Got on the bus with a jacket I lent her, and I only heard from her again when 3 months later, after I'd been obviously harassing her verbally,
Yeah.
she was like, "Listen, I've like been living with my fiance for 3 years. Like he's gonna kick your ass, yada yada yada." Like I didn't realize like I was the other man for a little bit.
Oh my God, man.
You know what I think was funny about her is that I felt like she was kind of using me for my money, but at the time I was just a part-time. Like she was using me for the little money I have. Like instead of buying her jackets and cars, I'd buy her like shawarmas and cigarettes. Andrea, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. That just has all kinds of horrible all over that, man.
Yeah, man. My friend said when he met her, this will be the last thing I say about her.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But he said she had obvious meth mouth, which I was so young and so innocent. Not that that makes her uninnocent, but I was just like, "What do you like?" And then I asked her about it, and she was like, "Well, of course I can't look." I was like, "Oh,
Oh my God.
yeah, man."
Jeez, how old were you when you met this person?
I was, I think like 21. Like I think I had one girlfriend out of high school, and we broke up, and it was, I don't know. I felt like I was just relatively kind of like wide-eyed about dating, like a little like naive about
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and it was bad. It was really bad.
Well, that's like, you know, going back to your question earlier, like when you said like, do I often, well, not do I often, but have I thought about divorce? yeah. And my wife and I, we've talked about this like on occasion, right? But then when we hear stories like that, it's just like this reaffirming, just like, I am going to stay with you even if I hate your guts, because I don't want any part of that whatsoever.
It's exciting though.
Well, it's great stories, man. Like it is a great story. And I'm sure people have all kinds of great stories and stuff like that. It would probably do wonders for my career, but yeah, I don't want any part of that.
No, I'm going to take a stand and say that I'm for your marriage.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're for it too.
Good.
So, we believe in it. You've been with your girlfriend for how long now?
I think a little over 3 years.
It's great, man.
Yeah, it's been long distance for just a little under 3 years.
Yeah. So how are you making that work with the whole COVID and everything like that? Like, because that's got to be like.
Yeah. The sad part is like most things haven't changed. It just means one less weekend a month, like where we normally see each other like one weekend a month. And that's just fine.
Uh-oh. Sorry, what was that?
So I said lots of phone calls.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not very exciting. And you know what sucks when you date long distance like this is you got to talk every day. But we both know we don't have much to say at certain points, but it's like, we got to be on the phone. Like, what are we doing here? So it's a lot of talking on the phone. Like, well, today I ate a potato. The love is gone, Greg. I'm kidding.
Well, yeah. Oh, obviously.
Yes. She's going to be here tomorrow. No, I'm very excited. Anyways, let's wrap this up. If you could go on any tour, stand-up comedy-wise, living or dead, who would you have, if you're the MC, who would you have open, middle, and then headline?
Oh, man. Living or dead.
And it's a true.
I would like, you know, it's probably such a cliche, but I would love to see Lenny Bruce, to actually see him live at the top of his game. To have him close, I think that would be pretty amazing.
Sorry, right? Is Lenny Bruce, is he the guy from Marvelous Miss Maisel? You've seen that show?
I have not watched that show, but apparently he is.
Okay.
So I've heard about him, but
like
yeah,
the bad boy of the 50s kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Bad boy of the 50s, exactly.
That's you.
I have a record of his, and it's great. I love it. So to hear him at the top of his game, that would be great. Dave Chappelle.
Oh.
Absolutely. I would love to be on a tour with him. This would just basically be 3 headliners right here. No order, just one after the other. And I'd love to see Eddie Murphy too.
Oh, but part of the game is to actually put them in order. Like, I know they're all headliners, but you're gonna have to give one of them like 15 minutes and one 45.
Okay. All right. So I'm hosting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's good.
All right. Lenny Bruce, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle.
I think you're right in your hypothetical opinion. But I think Chappelle would probably do some shit like he wouldn't dare go on after Eddie Murphy. It'd be like some sort of humble.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see Eddie Murphy though.
He's
He's
doing a special. That's right.
Yeah, he was going to be doing like a big tour and everything like that. So yeah, I was getting really, really excited to see what that was going to be like.
Were you going to try to like open?
No, totally not. I could never open for anyone.
That'd be so funny. That'd be so cool.
Oh my gosh.
You wouldn't be able to go back to work.
Oh, like, no, there's absolutely no way. Like, there's no way. You got to talk about, you should interview Adrian Cronk and get him to tell you about when he got to open for Russell Peters, and have him tell you all of that story and that experience right there. Because that's fantastic.
You've heard about the story? You've heard the story?
I have heard the story.
That's really good. I forgot about Adrian. He's really funny.
He is really funny.
He did something like, when my mom got remarried, she did like a party and he was there. Like, he just performed for the party, which in retrospect must have been a terrible gig for him. But he was so good. He was so good. I didn't know at the time. That's all I've got to say, I think, for
That sounds great. This is good.
Yeah, I hope I'll see you again one day.
I hope so too. This was really fun, and I'd like to have more chats away from this. And
Only if it's being recorded. Andrew doesn't work for free.
all right,
Andrew
we
doesn't
can
work.
record it, right? But I get to pick what goes out there. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Bye,
All
Greg.
right. Well, dude, enjoy.
You
Take
too.
care. Thank you.
Bye.